Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we could have your attention, please. We are joined by our runner-up finisher, Brad Keselowski, driver of the number 2 Alliance Truck Parts Ford for Team Penske. Today, he tied his career high here at Martinsville with his second runner-up finish and is the highest finishing non-chase driver. So, Brad, congratulations on a great race. If you could maybe just talk us through your afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good day for us, not the win. I think we were at the speed capable of to pull off, but still a really strong day. Car was good. Team executed really well. Just kind of missed out on the racing gods today, but you know, a lot to be proud of. Great effort, and showed that we're still a strong team, if not the strongest in the garage, and I'm really proud of that.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Brad. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We will get a microphone to you. We'll start here in the front with Jenna.
Hey, Brad, could you have caught Jimmie with more laps?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking it too. You can say it, I can't. But
Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, we don't need to run 100 laps under yellow with the field not trying to figure out where they're at, and it probably cost us the race.
Is there any disappointment in how you ran so well at Talladega and then had an engine blown, and you run so well here of what could be right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're the best team in the garage, and if we're not the best, we're right there. And you know, we don't have a shot at winning the championship, but I think today showed how strong we are, and I'm really proud of that.
Okay, we'll go up to the press box for a question.
Quiet group.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Can you repeat the question in the press box, please?
I'm not dodging it. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What about racing, now that you're not eligible, what about racing the guys who are still in the chase? Are you more careful, less careful? What does it matter to you when you're carving your way through guys who are still in the chase?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of here to win, and I think we got a great shot at doing that here, as you can tell today. And yeah, you know, I don't care about this format, so I'll just go out there and try to win. Whatever these guys, you know, do, it's still racing at the end of the day, and you should be here to win.
Okay, go ahead, Jenna, with your next question.
Brad, Jimmie's won the last 4 at Texas. If you're him, do you go and try to win again next week to make Phoenix more of a crapshoot for the rest of them?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's got a good shot at it. He's got a good team, and they're, you know, hitting their marks at a really strong level. And yeah, I think, yeah, why not? It's what he should do. I can't speak for him and what he will do, but you know, I think the strange part about formats like this is that you don't have to, and that seems wrong to me.
Any additional questions for Brad? Okay, Brad, we appreciate
Thanks,
you coming
guys.
in. Good luck next week. Okay, we are now joined by our third place finisher, Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Freight Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. This is Denny's 12th top 5 finish at Martinsville. So, Denny, congratulations on a great finish. If you could just talk us through your race this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a good day, solid day, but obviously not what we were looking for. You know, just lost the handle there with about 100 to go. I think our car just fired off. It was fired off slower. It ran slower throughout the entire run than what we had all day. So just missed it there just a little bit. You know, so, you know, that's what we had, and that's, you know, about all we could muster up at the end was a third.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Denny. If you have a question, raise your hand. We will start up in the front with Nate and then go up to the press box.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Denny, did you have a chance to talk to Kyle at all after? Okay. He seemed a little displeased about how the JGR cars worked together in the final, I guess, 100 laps or so. I think he felt like he and Kenseth were faster than you, and you guys should have sorted it out better. Do you have any reaction?
I don't think so. I think that, you know, especially when we're racing for, you know, third or something like that, we got to do everything we can to get every position. You know, really for us, we had a better car in the long run, and really those guys pressured me pretty good, I thought, for the first 40 to 50 laps of the run, and then I thought we separated ourselves fairly well. So I don't think, I may have held those guys up for a little bit of that final run, but definitely don't think I was holding up anyone at the end for sure.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, we'll come to Jenna and then back to Nate.
Denny, you had another speeding penalty today. Walk us through that. Like, I know that was something you were really focused on and had studied for.
Yeah, I just, it was a one section right outside, and I typically, the way I shift from first to second, leaving my pit box, I usually wind out first gear, and with first and second gear being so close together, I was over. I knew when they called it, that I sped. So it wasn't like we were just rolling too fast. It was just exiting my pit box. I got jammed up there. If I remember right, I got jammed up by whoever was pitted in front of me. There was cars coming on the outside, so I was trying to gas to get clear of them and then back off, and just these shorter sections, I just didn't have time to get it back.
With Jimmie winning, now it's mathematically only possible for 3 JGR cars to get in there. You guys, with the way that Martin worked and let people lead a lap today, you guys seem to be working well together, but at what stage does it become cutthroat now that you know that minimum one of you can't go on?
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part about it for sure is that we're in a team business, but we're also in a business to win for our sponsors and ourselves. I think at the end, you got to do what's best for yourself. I mean, we made deals about restarts and things like that, but obviously, I think I got 2 taps or something like that from the 20. But I definitely didn't feel like we were holding up anyone at the end by any means. I didn't even see it the 18 at the end. But it's just part of it. I think that we're all frustrated. We had probably first, second, third, fastest cars throughout the day, and then we end up 3, 4, 5. It's frustrating for all of us.
Go ahead, Nate.
You and Jimmie got together a couple of times, I think, early in the race, and you seem frustrated with him on the radio. Could you give us your side of that?
Yeah, my side is that he really put us in a bad spot at New Hampshire on a restart for 13th or 15th or something, and about wrecked us pretty much. And then so I voiced my displeasure with him after the race, and he understood why I was upset. But in return, I raced him hard for the lead, which is a big difference at Charlotte. And I think that Chad and those guys were frustrated with me and how I was holding those guys up for the lead. But it is the lead. So when we got to here, we were running for 7th, middle part of the race. I'd ran them down from the back of the pack, basically. And, he just wasn't wanting to give up the spot. And it was just costing both of us time. It was frustrating both of us. And I gave those guys, many laps to give us the position before I had to move them.
And one more for you. As Jenna mentioned, his victory today ensures there'll be no JGR sweep for the championship round. I know that was always a long shot, but is it somewhat deflating that you guys, after the regular season you're not going to get all 4 cars in, and on top of that, whoever makes it now has to beat Jimmie at Miami?
Yeah, I think anyone can be beat. I wouldn't deem anyone, better than the rest. I think that any car that makes it in, whether it be points or wins, is going to be tough to beat. So it's not deflating from my standpoint because we still had a very good showing today. I thought our cars all ran really well throughout the entire day, and at one point 1, 2, 3, and with Truex 4 there at one point. So I don't think there's anything to hang our heads about. I think it's a tough day for the 19 who blew a tire, but those guys can win any of the next 2 races.
Okay, we'll go back to Jenna and then up to the press box and then over to Barry.
On the caution for when Jimmie got the caution and you and Kyle came, I know you two were fine, but the running order behind you guys, any idea what happened there?
I know what happened. We got passed by 4 cars. That's what's frustrating is, there's, I don't know how many cameras are on between my car and NBC cameras, but somebody's got to see. I mean, even the pace car driver should see that cars are passing that shouldn't be passing. Hey, savvy move by the 4 and those other guys who decided to try to do it. I think they caught 2 of them, so there were more. There were more that you have to get right, and I think that the stakes are so high. I really wish that we would have red flagged the race, gone, reviewed it, and gotten it right because there's 100% chance that it was not right at the end, and it changed the running order. hopefully that doesn't change what happens going into Homestead. But I know that NASCAR's doing everything they can with the scoring that they have and things like that. But you have to get it right, and it definitely was not right.
Had they red flagged it and you guys have more laps, is it possibly a different finishing order?
I don't know that's a different finishing order, to be honest with you. I thought that the 48 was better from lap 1 of the last restart to the very end. I don't think that I could have held them off no matter what. But it didn't have anything to do with us. I mean, I never would have thought to try to pull that move to where you just pass the leader and hopefully they don't see it. But hey, kudos to those guys. They got one for sure. But you have to get it right. I mean, we're in a big time sport. There's no way that you can't find it on tape or you can't find it. There was a running order. There was a running order posted as soon as the caution came out before everyone pitted. There was a running order, and even after everyone pitted. And I had those cars were all behind me because I stayed out. I'd just come off pit road, so they have an order, but somehow it got all messed up. So we'll come up with a better way to make sure it's right in the future.
Okay, we'll go up to the press box for a question.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, considering the way the day started for you with the wrecked golf car and the car falling off the jack, are you relieved that things came out as good as they did today?
Yeah, I thought it was a great start of my day for sure. Getting wiped out on the golf cart and my car falling off that jack, but it's eventually the odds are that you're gonna have something go smooth, and really I thought as soon as we had that speeding penalty at the beginning, I knew I put ourselves back in a hole again, but I knew patience is what we needed to exercise there. We got through the pack clean, which was good. There was a few close calls, but it's just it was a tough start to the day. Great middle and blah ending. The tractor that pulls the trailer onto the track just wiped us out. I mean, I jumped off the cart because I saw it was coming. The other guys stayed on and was gonna take a ride, but I mean, it cleaned us out pretty good. Oh no, it just destroyed it. Yeah. You ever seen like Bigfoot and those cars that they set up for him to jump over? We were the car. Oh, I saw it coming. I jumped out of the cart, and the guy was. Taylor wasn't on there. No, I was at appearance. Okay. Clay Campbell's going to get a bill.
Go ahead, Barry, with your question.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting, WAKG. So sort of shifting gears a little bit, earlier this weekend we were talking about the weather conditions, how that would impact the number of lines, upper line being developed. A couple of things. Did that come into play? And secondly, conditions heat-wise for this time of year?
It played a factor. I thought that the groove was wider today than what it had been in the past. I thought that you could see the 48 and those guys, they were running up probably half a car length or so off the bottom, and I think that has to do with rubber being put down on the racetrack. I think that NASCAR's got a good tire coming back here in the spring. They tire tested and found a tire that lays rubber. Anytime you have a tire that lays rubber, it always makes for better racing. So, I think that regardless of the weather going forward, we're going to have racing like this.
Any final questions for Denny? Okay, we'll come up to here to Bob.
Let's dig into your brain, Bob. What's in there?
Well, I was talking to Joe out on the grid, and he said that if his drivers have problems with one another, then he lets them work it out. And so, like,
that ain't true. He gets right in the middle.
So, I mean, is there anything that you have to do with Kyle or anybody, or do you just go on?
I had no idea why anyone was mad at me, to be honest with you. If someone's mad at me, honestly, I don't know why. I thought that literally I probably held our line up for 30 to 40 laps, but none of us were going to go get the 48. That's real. That's real talk there. So. Nobody was on my rear bumper at the end of the race. I think I had 6 car lengths to the 20 and more back to the 18. So someone's upset. I think it's just because we all had a top 3 car during the middle of the race, and we ended up 3, 4, 5. That's never happy.
Denny, thank you. We appreciate your time. Good luck at Texas.
Thanks.
Okay, if we could have your attention, please. We are now joined by our race-winning team owner of Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick. Mr. Hendrick, congratulations on today's win. Certainly your team has had a lot of success here at Martinsville, but with the 48 now moving on to the Championship 4, just talk about what that means to you and your organization.
It means it takes a lot of pressure off right now. I'll tell you, just having the win, just like Charlotte, to advance into that round, and we're really looking forward to Texas because that's a really good track for Jimmie. But to win here and know we're locked into Homestead, that's it's a great relief. So you know, it's a special race for us, and I think this was our 24th clock here, so they told me. So I'm pretty excited about that, and we're just excited about going the momentum that we have now going to Homestead. We got a couple good tracks coming up, so looking forward to it.
Okay, we have time for a few questions. We'll start here in the front with Jim and then go to Kenny.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Rick, this is the first time that Jimmie and Chad have, under the new format, have advanced to the Championship 4, and they have 2 races, in essence, to get ready. What is the benefit, you think, for them, and does this make Jimmie a legitimate contender for that 7th championship?
Yeah, sure. I think so. I hope so. You know, we've gained a lot of speed. They found a lot of things and gained a lot of momentum, and you know, confidence is a big factor. And Chase had a really good test at Homestead, and Jimmie always runs good in Texas. So just knowing that you get to go to that final race and that you don't have a cut a tire or have a part failure or anything else that can happen, you can go race with a lot of confidence and then prepare for that race. And so I think they've been in that race before, you know, so this time, you know, we've been to Homestead a lot of times with a little bit of a points lead, but he understands the pressure of that race. So just getting there and being in position to race the other guys for the win's pretty cool.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Rick, we always hear people talk about when one team or 2 teams from an organization make it into the chase that everybody else is going to pitch in and help those. But what can you guys actually do to help the 48 team going forward that maybe you wouldn't normally do under any other circumstances? Does it differ that much, or is it the same?
Well, I think you know, you saw the Toyotas let each other in today and give each other a hole when there was an opportunity. You know, a teammate will let you in if it's a restart. You know, those things kind of happen on the track. But our organization's been working really hard together in the wind tunnel and sharing everything, and tremendous amount of respect between the guys. Having Jeff back in the car has helped a lot. Seeing Chase really come up to speed a lot of time in the simulator, and it's all of it. All of the work is paying off. It's all coming together. The engine shop's doing real well. You know, Chase has been so good on the 1.5 miles. So Alex has done a good job. Jeff's done a good job. Even Casey's picked up the second half and had a bunch of top 10. So I'm really proud of him because I can tell you we've never worked as close, shared as much, leaned on each other as much as we have since about June, July. And it's good to see it paying off.
Okay, we'll go to Bob, Jeff, and then finish up with Jenna.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, I think in Bristol we were asking you what's wrong. So could you have envisioned this strong of a performance from Jimmie? And then also, are you going to tap into Jeff Gordon if you need him again in upcoming years, or is 8 races enough?
I watched him today. I think he's too good to quit. So, you know. You know, sometimes you're not as good as you look, and you're not as bad as you look. And I don't think we were as bad because we worked pretty terrible about April, May, and we started picking up speed, getting to the front, leading some laps, and we could see it coming. And then right when I met you guys in Bristol, we'd spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel, and it started paying off, and we could see it and test and everything else. And you know, did I think we would run this good? I thought Chase would be in it. I actually, if any two of those accidents in Charlotte or Chicago, you know, I think he could have been. I don't know if he'd have made this round, but I have a lot of confidence in our guys when they really put their heads down and we work, and everybody put in a lot of effort. And it's not easy out there. I mean, it's a tough business, but we got a lot of hardworking, smart people, and when they work together, it's, you know, we can get results. So, but I felt like we could be at Homestead, but there's no guarantee. There's a whole lot of people in the garage that thought they'd be at Homestead. They won't be at Homestead.
Okay, next question from Jeff.
Hi, Rick. Is it starting to feel like the year where Jimmie finally wins his 7th, or with this format, is it too hard to get that kind of feeling?
Man, it's so hard. This deal is so hard on this new program. I mean, you see guys like Martin Truex that run so good and break a motor at Talladega. It's just, I mean, it's a heartbreaker. It just, when you get into the playoffs in baseball, the ball doesn't go flat, or you don't get a bat that comes apart. It's just, there's a lot of things out of your control that you just can't do anything about. But I think this is an excellent shot for us, for Jimmie, because I think he's got that stride. He showed it today when he was on the outside of Denny. He just didn't give it up, and he knows he's got a tremendous feel. He did it in Charlotte. You know, if I've got a race for the win at a track like that, then I'd put my money on him. And so I think all the components, the engine shop, chassis shop, aero, everything is in a good place. And then with Jimmie, when all the chips are down and it's for the 7th championship, I think he's going to ratchet it up a notch.
Okay, we'll take our last question from Jenna.
Jennifer,
You finally decided to come to a NASCAR race?
Thanks for
I
welcoming
thought they
me
didn't
back.
have any Indy races this weekend?
No, they were off. They were off.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good to see you too. I have 2 questions. Jeff, in terms of Jeff's final race, his answers consistently, you have to ask Rick. So if you're in need of a replacement driver, is he still your first call?
Absolutely.
Does he have a choice in that? Or
No.
Okay. How do you think he ran today?
I think he did a great job. There in the middle of the race, he was coming. I thought, man, he could win this thing. And, you know, it's hard to, you know, it's really tough to be out of the car and jump back in and race with these guys without having the, you know, week-to-week input into the car. And don't you guys agree he's too young to retire? Yeah. I mean, he's too good. But maybe we'll vote him back in. What do you think? Maybe they can come up with a new deal. I don't know. He's the one that said I could call him if I needed him. He told you guys that, right?
He didn't make it sound that way.
Huh?
He didn't make it sound that way.
Oh, okay.
My second question is, now that Jimmie's got his slide, he even acknowledged outside that it's inevitable that the talk of the 7th is going to just surround him, but he doesn't want to think about it. How does he balance that? Because it is in reach now for him, and it's not something that you probably want to defeat you mentally.
You know, but if you think back, when it was 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row, going for 6, I mean, he's been there. It's not like somebody that's trying to get their first championship or that's been so close and never won one. I think he's really just enjoying the moment, and I think the pressure will probably build when he gets to Homestead, but he's been at Homestead 6 times and delivered. So I'd put my money on him. I mean, it's a lot. It's like some of these teams when they get to the playoffs, they're hard to beat, and I think that Chad's that way, he's that way, and they know how to race for that deal. So I really don't worry about that part of Jimmie. No, I think he will handle that with no problem.
Okay, Mr. Hendrick, thank you so much for your time. Good luck next week.
Sure,
Just finished. We are now joined by our race-winning driver and crew chief of today's 68th annual Goodies Fast Relief 500, Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, and crew chief Chad Knaus. This is the 4th victory and 15th top 10 finish in 2016 for the team, and they will now advance to the championship 4. So, gentlemen, congratulations, and just talk us through your race this afternoon.
Thank you. Just obviously an amazing way to finish the day, and get a win here to get our ninth clock to win at Martinsville in the fall from the Hendrick Motorsport side is a very meaningful victory for us. So a lot of emotions are all coming together, and obviously the bright spot and the shiny spot in all this is that we've got a shot at a championship. So we're fired up and ready to go. I'm very, very excited for the next couple of weeks, and certainly ready to go to Homestead and race for this thing.
Okay, Chad, if you could also share your comments as well, how you're feeling heading into Texas after today's win.
Yeah, extremely excited, obviously. We were really pumped up to come in here with the 4888 shop and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. We had an opportunity after winning when we did in Charlotte to really focus on this race, to come in here with the best product we possibly could, and it was good. You know, we established ourselves as I think a contender early, running in the top 10, and then we had some problems, and Jimmie did an amazing job being able to go out there and navigate back up through the field and get back up towards the front, and then we caught a timely caution and made some good adjustments on the race car, and Jimmie did awesome early on in that last stint, and was able to get the lead and go out there and do what we did. So it was a great day, a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it.
Okay, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start here in the front with Kenny, and then go to Jeff, and then Bob.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For Jimmie, first of all, what was the issue with whether it was fuel or not fuel, or what happened out there?
No, we're definitely sputtering and running out of gas, and I don't exactly know what happened, but somehow there's a switch for the ECU, and it was off. So when I saw the fuel pressure fluctuating, the engine sputtering, I don't know. I was reaching around and I hit the switch and shut the ECU off, which cut the power off of the car. So then I came to a stop, and in my mind somewhere there was a voice saying recycle the power of the car. So I shut the main power off, counted to 3, which I'm sure was only about 1 second instead of 3, turned it back on, and then in my mind I'm like, okay, all switches on, and I went through my checklist and I saw that the most important switch was off. So I flipped it on, fuel pressure came up, car fired, and off it went. So then it was, hopefully pit 1 or 2 laps from then, and it went like 5 or 6, and it was really scary, hoping that I could maintain solid fuel pressure. But I just kept coasting and shutting the engine off, and I was able to stretch it.
For Chad, is there any different that you guys will lean on your teammates for going forward than you would have under any other circumstances?
I don't think there's a whole lot that you can do other than, whoa, I just... Sorry about that. Let's start over. Thanks for asking that question, because I have actually had not had an opportunity to ask him that. But there's not a whole lot that we can do, honestly, other than just be good teammates. And I think that with what we've got with the roster at Hendrick Motorsports, our drivers understand what it is that we need to do. Our crew chiefs understand it. Our teams really get it. It's been very encouraging over the course of this chase to watch our teams work together. And there's only so much that you can really do within the bounds of the rule, obviously. But Alan Gustafson and Greg and Keith Rodden, from my perspective, have done a fantastic job of working together with the 48 car and us with the 24 when they were trying to battle through for the advancement in Talladega. And the drivers on the track, I think you can just watch it and see what happens. Like, they're very courteous to one another, and that's what you have to have. Not every team is like that. But fortunately enough, with what Hendrick Motorsports does and the way Rick wants us to manage it, that's what we have at HMS, is a lot of respect for one another.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jeff.
Jimmie, the other day you were in here and you said that there's no favorites, that anybody could win the title out of the 8. You seem like a favorite to me at this point. What's your mindset going to be going to Homestead with all the experience you have, and how are you going to, or are you going to play mind games with those who may dare to face you guys?
No, I'm just going to do my thing. I mean, if that does something other then sweet. But you know, we've got one race and at a track we haven't won at yet that we assume we're gonna have to go down there and win at. You know, this chase, us last year being eliminated at Dover was hard to grasp. The 78 not being a part of the final 8 is hard to grasp this year. So that's where it's just hard to pick a favorite. You know, I felt like today was going to be a good points day for us. We had chasers with trouble. We got a timely caution, restart 4th, get by those guys, and now we've punched our ticket and are in great shape. I don't know who the other 3 will be, so at this point it's really difficult to pick a favorite. And I still think it's going to be hard to pick one going down there. Really do.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, and then come over to Jenna, back to Jerry, and then back up front to Dustin.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Jimmie, what would you consider would have been more unlikely that you have 3 top 5s in a 15 race stretch during the season, and you turn around and now we're going to Homestead, or the fact that you could have your car stall and remain on the lead lap?
Still win the race.
And then can you also talk about just the turnaround, and if you really thought it was possible during the summer to come here or to get to Homestead?
And the turnaround, I'm way impressed with, especially from where we came from to where we've ended up. It's one thing to see progress, but to advance and go back to leading a lot of laps and contending for many wins is very, very impressive. And we couldn't have done it on our own. It took all 4 teams, and then it took all the departments at Hendrick. And honestly, it took Rick Hendrick showing his commitment for him to sit in the wind tunnel for a 24-hour shift with all the teams. His commitment, and he didn't have anything to do, or he couldn't help being in that wind tunnel, but his presence there and the message that sent to the organization. And there's other examples like that as well. I think he's led by example, and we've come a long way in a short period of time, which is really impressive. But no, I mean, for whatever reason, the stalling on the backstretch is out of my mind. But I, as you bring it up, it's unbelievable. We're here with the trophy, and we were parked on the backstretch with 100 to go. So, thankfully, we had some track position at the time, so the pace car didn't come to me and put me down a lap, because that would have been a huge problem for us. And then staying on track and not pitting. I don't know where the 47 got back to, but I don't think we would have won the race if we didn't start up there in those front 2 rows.
Okay, next question from Jenna.
Jennifer, AP, the first question's for either of you. You guys have won the last 4 fall races at Texas. What do you do now? You don't really have a reason to race the next 2 weeks, but at the same time, if you do win again, you make it harder for other people in the chase. Chad's ready.
Yeah, it's unique. It's unique, right? Obviously, because that is one of our favorite racetracks. So we're encouraged to go there. I really do want to go win that racetrack, because it's such a great Jimmie vintage 48 style racetrack. The tires fall off. There's a lot of moving around. There's pit strategy. There's track position. There's driver line commitments. There's a lot of things that play into that race, which is a ton of fun for us. But that being said, we need to now sit back, look at our car allocation, and make sure that we're taking the best product that we possibly can to Homestead. So when I get to the shop tomorrow, we're going to get together, and we're going to look at what it is that we've got. We might make a quick decision and maybe make a change, but I don't think there's going to be a big change because I think that we've got a bunch of good, really, really good race cars to take to Homestead. So we go to Texas and we try to do the best that we possibly can for Lowe's and all of our corporate partners and everybody on the 48 team, because if we can go and we can run in the top 5 at Texas and run in the top 5 in Phoenix, that just shows the strength of the team, and it brings us into that last race with a little bit of high stepping.
Ed, do you have something?
Well, just the big takeaway for us over these next 2 weeks could be momentum, and if we can run up front or win again, I mean that's just huge momentum for the team. So that's the big thing we have on the line that could work for us going to Homestead.
And as you said, inevitably, the talk about 7 now follows you guys, and I assume you don't want that to be an all-encompassing thing. So what do you do the next 3 weeks? Do you not do any media? Do you just and I both want you to talk about that. Like, how do you handle that? Because it's right here for you now, and it's still 3 weeks away.
It is 3 weeks away, but I feel like at least now, an hour into it, it's a lot different than if I was sitting here with the old format. We're going to have 4 drivers with the same points value starting that race, and it's going to be different. There's nothing to protect. We're all at a tie, and it's just go out there and lay down your best work. So I think that will be helpful from a stress management standpoint and thinking of what could possibly happen. I'd love to do it, and just honestly just thrilled to have a shot at it. I mean, that's all you can hope for, is just to have a shot at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm not really. I hear and I see a lot about 7, and I'm not. You've asked me a lot of these questions in the past, Jen, honestly, and I'm not worried about the 7th. I'm just worried about the next, and that's what I want to do. Is I want to go out there and put our best foot forward as a team, and go out there and try to do the best that we possibly can to win the next championship. I'm not worried about the 7th or the 8th.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jerry and then come up to Dustin.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, Kicking the Tires, and great minds think alike, because that was the question I was going to ask Jana. But Jimmie, you've had some gremlins that have hit you at Homestead in the past, and that's got to weigh on your mind. How do you deal with that going into that race, knowing that, okay, I've got a shot, as you said, you're resetting the points, but I've got to get past these things that have plagued me in the past?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there have been a few bad memories down there, but I've got 6 really good ones. So I'm going to go with those. I'm going to play that card.
Yeah, man, we've had some fun in Miami. The issues that we've had in Miami in the past have been, look, at the end of a stressful, long season, situations arise, just things that outside of your control. There's been a lot of weird things that have happened there, So going into Homestead, we're actually very fortunate to be able to go in there with the mindset that we've got right now, that we're a competitive team. The 48 team is strong, and we just want to go out there and race our hearts out.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. A couple questions. One for Jimmie, one for Chad. Jimmie, Denny Hamlin was kind of expressed some frustration. I'm sure you got a sense of that during the race. He talked about after the race about New Hampshire and some of the contact there. Then he said, hey, look, I raced Jimmie hard at Charlotte, but he had expressed frustration with feeling like he'd come up on you today and felt like you'd raced him hard. If you can just kind of talk about that and if things have been kind of building. And Chad, my question for you is, did you ever get an answer or figure out how a car that stopped under the caution restarted behind cars that stopped under green?
Why don't you go first?
Yeah, I'm puzzled that he had to move me like he did. The inside is a preferred lane. I gave him the inside. I got a little something working on the top, but I mean, there's a line of cars behind him. I can't just roll over. So, I prefer to race people cleanly, and I could have easily taken the easy route and just moved him when I came back to take over the lead, and I didn't. And I hope that showed him that, look, man, I don't have a beef. I don't know what he's got cooking in his head and what he thinks that happened at Loudon, what he thinks happened at Charlotte. Man, I'm out there to win. We got points on the line. We got a championship on the line, and I got accused of racing hard. I'll take that as a compliment.
I was surprised about that Denny comment because I thought that you guys raced really cleanly. So I was shocked. I thought the end of the race went well.
He was talking more about the round lap 200, not the
When I gave him the inside of the racetrack, the preferred line for 5 laps. It's like, go ahead. Here's the preferred line. I'd like to be there, but I'm not. Good, take it. And I get moved.
And so, yeah, that was weird. Nonetheless, so yeah, I don't know what happened yet. I'm looking forward to this week to have an opportunity to talk to Richard or Steve or Scott or the guys in NASCAR to understand what went on there. I mean, I know that it's a challenge, man. When you've got 40 cars going around a half-mile racetrack and people start to pit, and one guy's 12 seconds back, the other guy's 3 seconds back, but it's still very, very confusing to me right now. So I really don't want to talk a whole heck of a lot about it because in my little world, I have one perspective, and they're up, in the DJ booth up there on top, so they can see what's going on. So they have a better perspective than I, so I'm sure I'll get some clarification. But right now, I'm happy as hell we won the race. How's that?
Okay, we'll take a follow-up question from Bob and then go to the back for a couple questions.
Bob Pocker, ESPN. But Jimmy, did you have much damage from? I mean, they had to come in and fix the car after the contact with Denny, and then you also had some contact with Amarola, I think. Did you feel that any of that contact was race threatening?
It didn't help. The contact with Denny, when my left front, when I hit him, as he was going by, it moved my steering, so something in the steering did bend. The deal with Eric, I guess we touched tires. I had no intentions of getting into him. We touched tires, and the tires kind of make the vehicle jump and climb up on one another. And that also happened with the 47 off of turn 2. I got inside of him, and I guess with the soft front fender I had from the damage, it made it easier for the right front to get into somebody's left rear. And that happened twice where I was literally stuck on somebody and climbing up the side of them. So glad it didn't do more damage than that.
Okay, we'll go to the back for a question, please.
This one's for Jimmie and Chad. James Pike from Race Chaser Online and the Performance Motorsports Network. There have been days where you guys have come here and you guys have been dominant, but this was not one of those days. You guys had to beat fenders out. You had the whole fuel issue, and you guys still come back. You win. You clinch your spot to the Final Four. With everything that you guys went through today, does this make this win maybe a little bit more special than some of the other wins you guys have had here?
Gosh, they're all very, very special. To be here in the fall and pay respect to the people that we lost in the plane crash is one aspect when we show up here. To see Rick in victory lane and to have a few moments talking about little Ricky and his brother and the plane crash and the people that were on it. I mean, there's just a moment there that we always take for ourselves. I'm not sure if others do, but it definitely hits something inside of us that lived through that. And then to punch our ticket and know that we've, the chance at 7's alive is pretty damn awesome.
Any final questions for Jimmie or Chad? Okay, we'll come up here to Jenna.
Hey, Chad, the win ensures that JGR can't have all 4 cars in there. They at most can have 3. Does that make a difference to you at all that they can't, as a team, that their numbers will be down, I guess?
I hadn't thought of it, honestly. No. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I really don't care who we're racing, because anybody that is in this stage of the game has the potential to go out there and race really, really well, or manipulate the outcome of the race by pit strategy or anything. All the elements. If you've made it to the final 8, you're capable of winning the championship. So they're definitely all good competitors.
Do we have any final questions for Chad? Okay, go ahead, Bob, and then we'll finish in the back with Mike.
Chad, we're going to all be talking about Jimmie going for 7 and him first time that he's been able to make it to the championship round in this format. Was getting to the championship round in this format, did you view that as a challenge? Did you view it as like if you guys never got to kind of the chance to win a 7th, that you'd have unfinished business?
Wow. Right. You know, kind of like what I said earlier, it's not about the 7th. It's not about, how many wins do you have? 79. Thank you.
There it is.
It's not, I mean, I hate to be that broad about it, but it's not about the numbers. It's not about 7. It's not about tying Dale. It's not about tying Richard. It's not about beating Dale or beating Richard. It's not about beating Jeff for the most wins or however many wins he's got. Like, I think you guys miss what we're about, and that's, we want to go win Texas. You follow me? We want to go win Homestead. We want to go win Phoenix. Like, and then guess what? In a few months, Daytona's rolling around. We want to go win that one too, and that's the way that we approach every single race. It's not about, you know, what we're ellipsing.
Okay, we'll take our final question from Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Chad, we've heard you before when you have questions about a NASCAR decision, sometimes get on the radio and say if NASCAR is listening or voice your displeasure over the radio. Is that something that you've experienced in the past with NASCAR, that they listen to you and that's how you get that across, or is that just your way of venting some frustration?
They don't listen to me, but they might be listening. Does that make sense? There's two different things, right? You know, like you can hear Jimmie, but do you really hear Jimmie? You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I guess white man can't jump quote, but it's yeah, man, I'm just putting it out there because really with the way the structure is inside the garage or the pit road area is now, to talk to a NASCAR official and then have him try to relay something to the tower, it's just really not even worth your time because there's too much noise, there's too much going on, trying to locate that official, and then making sure that your message actually is conveyed properly to the people up there. It doesn't work out. And he does the same thing, you know, he'll be like, NASCAR, you guys need to pay attention to this, you know, so they listen to a lot of people. And I mean, heck, you guys tweet it all out anyways as soon as we say it, so we know they follow tweets, so it's getting up there to them.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Congratulations and good luck at Texas.